Hello, hello. Hello, everybody. I'm just getting some paper ready to make. We're going to make a dragonfly today. We're going to use two of the tools that I introduced you to. And beginners number 1. And they are the quilling comb and the cone tool. So I'm just doing yellow and lilac together. Okay. So as you remember, I introduced you to the quilling comb, which is another way to do some paper quilling, but it's done in a woven manner instead of a spiral spinning manner. And then I introduced you also to the cone tool, which is very similar to the simple quilling tool, as that it has a slit at the very end of it. But if you notice, the neck of it is very, very long, and that is to help you make some cones, narrow little cones, as you're making, I don't know, say a dragonfly like we're going to make tonight. So I'm just kind of getting everything ready, and yay, Pam made it! Woohoo! Yay! So, Pam, tonight we're going to make a dragonfly, beautiful dragonfly. And see, I have 3 of his wings prepared already. And it's very easy to do. On week 1, I introduced you to a myriad of tools, all kinds of tools and tweezers and a pokey tool and all kinds of things. And two of the tools I introduced you to, you quit. Okay, well, do you have an onion slicer? Because it's the same exact thing. So if you have an onion slicer, something that you just poke into an onion and you can slice your onion, it's the same exact thing. Or if you have a 7-inch hair comb, you can use the wide end of a 7-inch comb. Or if you have a hair pick that looks just like this. Hello, Martini Rini. If you have a hair pick for curly hair, they have these picks for curly hair. You can use one of those. I'm trying to think. And you have a dog. Do you have these are much, much narrower, and I do want to get one because I don't have one yet. But if you have a flea comb for a dog or just a regular fur comb for a dog, one side of the comb has wider space tines and the other has narrower space tines, just like this, only it's metal. I cut onions the old-fashioned way too. That is also something you can use. So if you have a dog comb, if you have a hair comb, a quilling comb, an onion comb, those are all different examples of combs that you can use. Do you have a rat tail comb? You can use a rat tail comb. I'm trying to think. Those are the only 4 examples that I know. That I know how to use. But at any rate, okay. So when you're using a quilling comb, you're making long loops, and I'll show you in one of the wings. You can see See how long the inside loops are. They just get longer and longer and longer and longer and longer and longer and longer until you get to the end of your strip. And that's very, very hard to do with a quilling tool, to make your loose coil that big and then to pinch it on one side to make it do this. It's virtually impossible. Well, it's not impossible, but it's almost impossible. It's very difficult. So we use a quilling comb. And most quilling combs are numbered, but not all of them. And if you're working with a regular hair comb, you might want to mark off your center tine, because there's different ways of weaving your paper quilling strips. Yeah, go ahead. You can go double check your kit. Go ahead. The colors you're going to need for today, I still have paint underneath my fingernails. Hang on just a second here. That's kind of gnarly looking. I washed my hands with a scrubby and everything, and I still have paint stuck underneath my nails. I was using orange and red and brown, and I just want to make sure my nail... Oops, I got polish missing on that one, but see, I still got orange on this one, and it's underneath there. But at any rate, okay, so you have your quilling comb, you have your numbers, 1 through 15. Those just help you keep track of what tine you're on. These are tines, T-I-N-E-S, tines, like the tines of a comb or the tines of a fork. These are tines of a quilling comb. And these just help you stay on track as to which tine you're on. If you're doing odd numbers or even numbers or longer loops, let's say you want to do them 3 apart, you can look at the numbers and know which tine you need to be on. You usually just watch. Okay, Pam, no problem. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is, I have from Quilled Creations quilling paper in lilac and pale yellow. I love lilacs. Lilacs smell so beautiful. Hi, Stacy. Yeah. Oh, yes. Please hit the thumbs up. That would be great. I would appreciate it. Thank you so much. And these are 17-inch long strips. They come 17 inches long. And I've glued the purple onto the yellow. So I've glued the purple onto the yellow, and I'm going to come all the way to the end of the yellow, and I'm going to break the paper, or prepare the paper, or I call it breaking, not tearing, breaking, but some people call it preparing the paper, soften the paper, so that I can come to the end. Whoops, take the cover off my glue. Come to the end and make a loop. You just want to make a loop, and you want to make it big enough so that the tine of your comb will fit through. You want to glue it together, hold it in place, glue it together, hold it in place until it catches. Oh, that's good. Yay. Good, Pam. That's great. That's great. Okay. You want to use a wide tooth comb when making this size dragonfly. I almost just said dragonfly. You want to use a wider tooth comb. If you're using a fine tooth comb, skip every other. Okay, so let's get started. We'll put the tine through, And we're going to start the first loop on number 3, not number 2. We're going to skip tying number 2. We're going to start on 1 and 3. So we're going to wrap around 3 and come back to 1. And pull the paper through. We're going to do every time. We're going to wrap around 4, come back to 1. Wrap around 5, come back to 1. Now, there are some people who will, either way is correct, who will, back at number 1, glue every time. They'll put a drop of glue, they'll wrap around, come back to 1, put a drop of glue, come back around, go back to the time, go back to number 1. I have done that, and I find that for me it takes so much longer to make your component. So I have just got, whoops, I dropped my quilling tool. I'll get it in a minute. I have found that just making the loops and then gluing the end together, I'll show you that when I get there, is faster for me, and it's still just as pretty. Okay, now we're starting to get into the second color now. Go back to 1, and now we're at time number 12. Go back to 1. We're at time number 13. Go back to 1, and time number 14. And you always want to make sure you have enough paper to go back to 1. Now you're going to notice that the first 2 times kind of get pulled together, and that's perfectly fine. That doesn't do anything to your component. So you want to tear your tail off. At this point, you do want to put glue here at the end. Put glue at the end. Roll your paper around. Glue down your end. And this is what it looks like. You've skipped time number 2 and you started at 3. So you're going to have a small loop where you started. You're going to skip a time, and then you're going to have a loop going up all the way up. And you just simply pull it off. Hi, Sharon! But don't let go of the end. If you do, it's no major problem. It just loosens up a little bit, so you can see it loosened up a little bit. Push it back down and hold on to your end. And what I do is I put glue on this side, I put glue on this side, I let it set for a second and push it in. And that way it squeezes in between the papers. I let it dry till it holds. You don't have to wait for it to completely dry, but I do let it dry till it holds. I'm trying to get the glue off here. There we go. Glue that was stuck to my fingers stayed stuck to the glue that was there. And you have the wing of a dragonfly. Hi, Sharon. Hi, Sharon. Nice to see you. All right, so then you're going to do that 4 times. You're going to put a 17-inch strip of lilac and a 17-inch strip of pale yellow together, and that's going to create a wing. You do that 4 times because dragonflies have 4 wings, 2 on one side, 2 on the other. Okay, so there's that way. No, your dragonflies don't have to have purple wings. You're absolutely right. But these are lilac. Lilacs are beautiful. So, okay, so that's using the quilling comb. That's one way to use a quilling comb. I will next week show you a different variation on using the quilling comb. It's a little more intense, but it's still fun, and that'll be next week. Hopefully that'll be next week. I'm not sure where I'm going to be yet next week, so I don't even know. I'll have to let everybody know at the second to last minute. Not the last minute, but the second to last minute. Okay, so yes, they are. Green wings would look really cool. Green and turquoise together, or two different colors of green. That would be really pretty. Green and yellow. Any color combination you can come up with. These just happen to be the two colors that were on top. Now, let me pick up my quilling tool. It fell on the floor. Now we're going to use the cone tool, and the cone tool is going to help us create the dragonfly body. I have not measured this out, so you and I are going to learn together on this as to how long the piece of paper actually needs to be. I'm going to start out with half, and we'll go from there. Okay, so I'm going to start with a half a length. So to use the cone tool, C-O-N-E, cone tool, we put the paper in the slit just like we normally would, and we wrap once and twice. And then from there, you're going to angle your paper just a little bit and continue wrapping. And you don't want to pull too tight because you don't want to squish your cone. And see, it just automatically goes down a little bit and down a little bit and down a little bit. And you just keep going and going and going and going. Ooh, and I think half a sheet was fine. And then, you know what? This is going to have a hard time sticking because I didn't break the paper. And I didn't tear the end. See, I was so excited to show you that I forgot all my steps. Left them out. And then you just glue the end. And you have made a cone. You very gently work it off the end. Put a little bit of glue where your seam is to hold all of your spirals in place. Yes, I am on Messenger. What's confusing you, Sharon? I am on Messenger. So there's the bottom half. Now we want to make the top half, which is his head. So we take the other half. Can't see what? Oh, what did I do? I'm out of frame, Cal. What did I miss? Did I miss the gluing part? Did I screw up on the gluing part? Where your seam is. Yes, where your seam is, you want to run glue, a bit of glue, down the whole length. Just like that. Spread it down with your finger and leave it. Don't touch it because little glue pieces will get stuck in it. Let it dry. I'm sorry I was off screen for that. Okay, then you take the other half. You're welcome. Then you take the other half, and this time I'm going to remember to break the paper because I didn't last time. It was a little stiff at the end. Okay. Because the pieces of paper are the same length, they will become the same diameter across the center this way. They will become the same diameter from side to side. But you don't want to make as long a cone, or any cone actually, for the head. You just want to make a tiny little dome. So it's okay to switch to your regular quilling tool. To wind the second part of the body. This is the head part. You want to keep your coil closed, but you want to loosen it just a smidge. Just a smidge. Glue the tail down. Beat it up. That's right. Break the paper. Beat it up. And then, just ever so slightly, with the tip of your tool, make a little indent. Ah, come back here. No! He lost his head. There we go. Ever so slightly, make a little indentation with the tail end of your tool. Or you can use your dome board, which is right here, and you can go on the first one, and it will make a little dome for you. If you don't have this board, you can use the tail end of your tool. You don't want to squish the little dome that you've made, so you got to add some glue in there, and it's going to take that a little bit to dry, but that's okay. That will hold your whole dome together. Now, where your seam is, as soon as I find it, there it is where you want to connect this seam. And because they're the same length paper, the diameter will be the same, and they will fit together just like that. So you need to glue that together where the seams meet. And you just go around the edge with a little bit of glue. Now you're looking at that going, that'll never hold in place. And you're right, it probably won't. But there's a little trick. There's a little trick that I can show you. So you put that together where the seams meet. And once you get it in place, just don't touch it. Don't fiddle with it again. Don't touch it. Just leave it to dry. You have 1/8 of an inch on this side and 1/8 of an inch on that side and a seam. And what you're going to do is take a small strip of black paper, 1/8 of an inch wide, and you're going to cover the seam. And that is what's going to hold those two pieces together. Move it up so we can see. Looks like a mini microphone. And it should be pretty well dry. So that you can work with it. So you're going to take a little bit of glue and put it on the seam. Am I in frame? Okay, you're going to take a little bit of glue and put it on the seam. You're going to soften the paper, and then you're going to put it around the seam. I think I should have softened the paper a little bit more. It's being a little bit tight. Well, I yanked it apart because it wasn't even on the bottom. But the glue was still sticky enough that I could work with it, and it would still stick together. Here we go. And you wrap it around once or twice, but no more than that. That's why you take a very small piece of paper. Mine was probably about 2.5 inches long. And you glue it in place. And now you have the body of your little dragonfly. Hi, Stacy. Again. Okay. You want to put the side where the seam is on the bottom. The side where the seam of the body is on the bottom. Ooh, so pretty. Is Chris snoodling you, you little baby? I'm off the screen again. So you add a little bit of glue to the tip of the wing. And you add the first wing to the base of the seam. And then you take a little bit of glue to the tip of the wing. And you add it right on the base. Maybe just a little above, but pretty much right on it. So there's one side finished. You do the same for the other side. to the bottom of the, not the bottom, the base where the seam is, the base of the seam. And put a little bit of glue on the bottom again. You've seen me do that a million times. And right on the seam, or maybe just above it. And dragonflies don't have antennae, so I'm not going to make any. And there, my lovelies, is your dragonfly. Now, if you feel that that tail should be longer, you can use longer than half a strip of paper. Just make sure that when you make the head of the body, that it's the same length of paper that you used for the body. I know. Like I said, we're learning that together today, Sharon, because I didn't measure it out. I used half a strip. I think next time I would probably use 3/4 of a strip. So I would use 3/4 of a strip so that I could make a little bit longer cone for the body, excuse me. And then I would take another strip and use 3/4 of a strip around the regular quilling tool to make the head. So that's why I said we're gonna learn this one together. So since I actually think that it's too short, I don't want that glue to dry there. We'll save that for a butterfly body later on somewhere. And let's see. I need 1/4. Okay. So if I'm going to go with 3/4 of the body, I need to cut off 1/4. So there. I've got one piece of paper. I've got 3 or 4 pieces of paper that have the measurements on them so that I know where to chop off as opposed to using inches or whatever. So if I want to use 3/4 of this strip, I need to take 1/4 off, and that's what I'm doing. Break the paper. Okay. No. Well, there is, I suppose, before you glue the head on, you could soften some paper and do it by hand, I guess. That would be a little bit on the difficult side. But like I said, your first one is always going to be trial and error. And since I didn't measure this out beforehand, so this is going to be 3/4 of a strip. I'm going to put it in there. I'm going to wrap it twice to hold it in place, and then I'm going to make the cone. Woo! Woo! Get back! Ow! And if that happens, you just start again. Get a little too far down before I grabbed hold of it. So let's try that again. 1, 2, and let's make a cone. Now it does take some practice to make a cone. And I had quite a few of those little springy accidents. There. Let me grab that. And let's see. Ah! I should have softened the paper some more. Uh-oh. Oh, it's sprung in the middle. Well now. This is par for the course. It's not always easy to make a cone. Okay. Okay. Like I said, this is par for the course, the little springy thingy. It's very difficult to work with an eighth of an inch of piece of paper and get at least half of it to hold in place. Okay. Squeeze a little bit. Practice, practice, practice. A cute witch's hat? Yes, I suppose it could be. Yes. Okay. Hence why you want to make sure where you find the seam and you put the glue all the way down so this doesn't spring apart on you. And I'm going to say it doesn't look too awful much longer, and I think I'm going to have to go with Pam's suggestion to use a full strip because it doesn't look that much longer. It looks like about an eighth of an inch longer. If I hold it to it, it only looks like it's only about an eighth of an inch longer. And once I get the head on there, let's go ahead and make the head, and without gluing it on, let's see if that works. Oh, tear the back end before I start the coil. Thank you very much. Tear the back end. Okay, I've torn the front end, tear the back end. Which side is the right side of the paper? Okay, that's really important too. Okay, I'm gonna try. and see. Ah! It's kind of hard to just hold them together without gluing them. I really just want to put them together to see if that's going to be long enough. For me it is, but for other people they're going to want the tail to be longer, so maybe a full strip of paper. I like going off screen. Yes, I do. What did you miss? Yeah, it is. I think, like Pam said, I'm going to have to use a full strip of paper. So, I don't want to waste the body though, so I'm going to glue it together. And use it for a butterfly. Okay, so now let's try a full sheet. Let me try it one more time. You bought a kit and want to show you what you can show me in my group, Sharon. Aren't you in my group? On my Facebook group? But if you want to show me in Messenger, sure, you can show me in Messenger. Send a picture in Messenger. If you don't want to send it in the group. Can somebody put my group in in chat so that Sharon can? I thought you were part of my group already. That's what my group is for. Sharing what we make. All with K's. Creative Kellyanne's Crafty Corner. All with uppercase K's. Okay, guys, I've never made a cone this long before, so wish me luck. There, Stacy's got it. Ooh, this one's way longer, guys. This one's way longer. Ooh. Okay, so let me take another full strip to make the head. Yep, Pam's the winner. She said use a full strip. She was right. So that means you need to use a full strip for the head. Okay. Now I need to go on to the second dome because it's a little bit bigger. Yep, I think that's going to work. So let me glue this before I lose it. Let go of me. Let go of me. There we go. And we'll put some glue in here so we don't lose the dome. A little bit of glue on the edge. See, just a little bit of glue on the edge. And I need to find the seam. I didn't do that first. And the seam is going to be hard to find because I tore the edge. I think it's right there. And put that seam to that seam. There we go. Pam was right. Alright, now let me get a small strip of paper to cover the seam. Yes, it does look much better. First time I've ever made a cone that long, guys. Yay! There. Now we can glue it together. And there's our dragonfly. I didn't glue this one together yet. I don't want it to fall apart while it's waiting for butterfly wings. Or smaller dragonfly wings, one or the other. Because I make the butterfly bodies the same exact way. There. Hi, Angela. So, that, my friends, is how to use the quilling comb and how to use the cone tool. Hello, Miss Allie Kay. I made a dragonfly. I taught people how to use the quilling comb, and I taught people how to make a cone on the cone tool. And just for a little bit of show and tell, I've been making these great little gift tags. They're little snowflakes that start out like this. They're cut out on balsa wood. They start like this, and I whitewash them. See, they start out wood colored like that, and I whitewash them. And then I make really eeny weeny teeny tiny little components, and I paper quill them. That's okay, Ellie. That would be great if you did. And so I made tiny little inward scrolls instead of outward scrolls. These are just little V's, a piece of paper folded in half. And these are just little spokes, tiny little spokes. So there's only 3 components in this one, and it looks so stunning. I love this. I love this one. And then this one has spokes and teardrops and discs. So tight coils, rather. I call them discs sometimes, but they're tight coils. And Stacy May is the one who gave me the great idea of using some powder blue. And then, of course, when I sealed it, I sprinkled some glitter on it. You can't really see the glitter too much, but I know it's there. I don't know if you all can see it or not, but yes, they're just, these are, let me see, these are that way to that way is 1.5 inches. This is 1.5 inches across. Just wee tea time. So that's the project I'm making to go with the Christmas presents. I'll show you one of them, but I won't show you all of them. Hold on a second. I made a green mandala with butterflies for my cousin. Hold on. Let me lift up my camera so I can get it under there. And then I had it framed in a shadow box. So there's the frame, and there's the, oh, what is that glare reflection? Sorry. I don't know where that's coming from that I can stop it, but that's the mandala at any rate. And right there and there and there are the butterflies. She likes green, dark green, so I made them as dark as I could, different components. So these are a sample of some of the Christmas presents I made for my family. This is the butterfly I made for the other cousin. See, you can see, I know you see the reflection of my phone in there, and I'm sorry about that, but that's because of the glass that's on here. But that's the butterfly at the ocean that we always see. So I made that for my other cousin. So I'm having fun this Christmas doing my Christmas presents. Well, I guess it's time to take my medicine. It's 10 p.m. Oh, thank you all for tonight and bearing with me while we get the body of the dragonfly correct. Thank you all for joining me. I greatly appreciate it. And I hope you join me again next week. I'm sure I'll see you all around in chat throughout the week. Oh, thank you, Angela. I'm glad you were here. I'm glad everybody was here. My new glasses, my new craft glasses. So everybody be well until I see you again. Nighty night, meow, Stacy. Everybody, bye for now, meow.